What's going on, everyone? It's Fizz. Welcome to the channel, Snap Crackle Fizzle. Pretty cool name. And subscribe if you haven't for health and spirituality. So we're going to be talking about my adrenal fatigue journey, but basically ways to heal it. Like some ways I've found to heal it. And I've 4 years into this, really severe, a lot severe than the people that I see or that I hear about. Obviously, there's stories that aren't on the internet, and then there's some people who you just don't know really how bad they are on the internet, but some of them just not as bad, basically. And so when we get into this, one of the key things that I just found out recently and tried using was a raw adrenal supplement. So that's something that I feel like would definitely impact your game if you haven't tried that yet. They're actually pretty cheap online. You don't need to even buy a super expensive one. They usually would just say raw adrenal gland, and yeah, that should really do some good to your body, especially when we're talking that organ. And that's also like, it's also been in like ancient texts. Hippocrates says if there's something damaged in your body, whatever it is, give that person that, and to heal that. So if something's wrong with somebody's liver, they'd eat liver. If something's wrong with their adrenal, they would eat the adrenal gland. So that's one thing I just want to get right off the bat, to get a raw adrenal gland, or if you could even get the actual adrenal gland and eat it that. But the supplement you probably find on Amazon, but also you could just actually eat it from the animal, which may be hard to source, depending on, it'd be harder to source probably. And another thing that I want to say is a real good thing right off the bat is digestive enzymes, but more so HCl supplements. Highly recommend those. So when you eat protein, which I found pretty much obviously the only protein, it's just it's too much. It only works with like animal protein, so you want to use it with like animal protein and eggs, meat and muscle meats and eggs. And when you want to take this supplement, the HCl, you don't want to take it at the beginning, and if you do, you want to eat right away. You don't want to take it at the end. HCl supplements, I highly recommend it. And usually the HCl supplements, just buy a cheap one, and there's the one that I get that has the bitters in it. Like if you have other things that stimulate it, so like bitterness stimulates digestive acids or your digestive system, and that will make it, increase your fluid. So especially if it like real severe, that will definitely help. I definitely noticed that too. So I mean, I've tried it before, but I don't know, like it definitely works now, and I take it like at any time that I'm eating animal products. Basically, if I'm not eating animal products, then I don't take it, the HCl. Now if you want to do HCl and digestive, I recommend highly the HCl. But if you're just getting the digestive enzymes, like I would, on top of that, like I would take like one or two of those in the beginning for like whatever else you're eating, that is. And then definitely take the HCl during the middle, and you can take multiples of those too, and just see where it goes. If it starts getting real acidy, if you feel it coming up, then don't take any more of it. And those are two things that are highly recommend, like I highly recommend. And those are two things that you can notice a difference. So you could actually notice a difference. I've tried so many things. And to get into it, like I want to talk about just diet real quick, which is the supplements, but also the diet is like one thing to address. I know everybody says it, but how I got into this was because of stress. Now, obviously, stress comes in many forms, but I was starving myself basically, and at the same time not eating enough, but I wasn't satiated because I was on the vegan diet. So, and I was also, at one point I started working out intensely, but I was starving even before the vegan diet, and I was getting weird symptoms. And I wasn't eating processed food, if so, like very little. And I was making like all my food like all the time, and going out maybe the places too, not as much though, like rarely. And I just never felt satiated. So that was like stressing my body. That's what really did it. And then like once you get into this mode, you'll feel like you'll have more energy, and you'll feel like, oh, you want to do more things, and you'll feel creative, which that's cool. But it's like long-term fasting basically on the vegan diet, because your body gets like stressed out. I understand some people can do it and da 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 da, but I was making all my meals and I was just starving all the time. And especially what really exuberated was when I was working out intensely, and then it just like that ruined my sleep because I was starving at night. So my sleep would get ruined. So then we got all this stress. Like that's like the worst stress. Starving's the worst stress. You can't beat it. You can't get more stressful than starving. That's the number one thing. And that's what a lot of people that end up happening to them is they don't eat enough, or they're not eating the right foods, like again. And so that would be something I would look at immediately. I don't want to make this video too long, but that would be something I would look at immediately, is the diet. Like if you're on a vegan diet or even a vegetarian diet, I'd look at that immediately and try incorporating meat, you know. So that would be something I would go straight forward to. And as we said, so there's a bunch of things when it comes to diet, but you would just have to see what works at that time. So starving, and then, so I said like the sleep got messed up. I wasn't eating the right nutrients and I was starving all the time. So 3 things like really stressful: starving, the right nutrients, and then ruining my sleep. So that was 3 things right off the bat. And then it was mentally in my head, like obviously I was like, didn't have too many things, but that was like a little stressor too. Like, oh, I don't need to eat these animal products. Like, I was just really hungry. Like, oh, well, eating this, I knew like instinctively, like this wasn't gonna fill me up. But at the same time, I just had like animal products were nowhere on the map, nowhere on the list. And then, so obviously, like, there's gonna be some emotional stuff. Like, some people have like super emotional stuff, but and traumas and stuff like that, but not necessarily me. And then you got to look at your environment, what's going on, the fresh air. Are you getting exercise? Are you sitting around? Some people, it is true, like they sit around an ass all day and they don't move a lot. So that could very well cause adrenal fatigue, and then, or stuff around that nature. And then like they'll get into like fasting, which is probably good for them. So that's something to look at too, depending on like, you know, exercise, like sitting, yeah. And then obviously I was overworking out for sure, because I was more so probably on adrenaline rushes. So overworking out, something to look at too, intense workouts basically. And then, yeah, so I'm not going to get into everything in this video, but those are things I wanted to go over. And then especially the first 2 things that I talked about, the adrenal glandulars, and also obviously the HCl, and then additional enzymes, digestive enzymes. Also, another thing that I'm going to start implementing is eating more, but more so eating smaller amounts basically is what I'm going to do, like smaller amounts. Like, because, you know, like on this, if you experience it, you'll get like, if you go for a long time, or maybe just in general, you'll get like really hungry and you'll just want to eat as much as you can. I know the feeling. And so I couldn't eat food at all, actually. Like no food would go down, and I couldn't even drink anything either. And I still have problems with both of those. Definitely both of those. And food was actually easier to eat than the drink stuff, and drinking is actually more of a problem than eating. Believe it or not. My body like completely shut down, basically completely shut down. But I would say the core of it, the core of the shutting down for me, I mean, for anybody is going to be stress, but that's just kind of vague. But for me, it would not be getting the right nutrients. I feel like that was the number one thing. And I'd started off on the vegan diet and then, like, you know, go to other things. Of course, it was a combination of everything, but that was like the number one, like, hitter for sure. And that's basically all I wanted to say with that. Stay tuned for the channel, subscribe if you want to, you know, for health and spirituality. I don't just talk about adrenal fatigue, that would be super boring. But I probably have other videos, and I have talked about it before, and always down to try like new things and stuff like that. Where I'm at right now, it's just like, yeah, I'm at like basically like maybe like one day I'll feel like better. It's been getting better basically and better, but it's like super slow, and it's just like it's really hard when you can't feel anything because I'm depersonalized. You can't feel the body a lot, and you just feel exhausted all the time basically. You don't know if you want to sleep more, because sometimes when you sleep more it ruins it. Sometimes if you take a nap in the day you feel worse. You know, it's just like it's real mind fucking and manipulating. And then like right now, like I said, I'm at like, I don't know if it's like every other day I feel good. So like one day, and it's not 100% at all. It's not 100%, but I'm slowly getting like coming back and some people don't experience depersonalization, derealization, whatever, but it has to do with your adrenals if you are experiencing that. And so not everyone experiences that. For example, I can't smell things. I can't barely smell things. I couldn't taste things at all. I couldn't feel things. So like mine was way more severe than the people's that I've read, you know what I mean? So that's basically it. And like I'm slowly, like the days that I have energy, like I feel good. It's just like when I don't have energy, you can't think at all. You have brain fog, and it's just fucked, you know. You can't think at all. So that's basically it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And like I said, subscribe to the channel. Don't want to say that too many times, but be nice. And yeah, have a nice day. Thanks for tuning in.